Okay, guys. Hi, this is Battle Mix for CG Tots Plus, and today we're gonna go to the wonderful world of Houdini. Oh my god, I just love this 3D application. And just to note, if you are new to Houdini, we're just not gonna be uh, deep down in the beginner level. I do recommend that you check out the help on Houdini. They have side effects made a lot of has a lot of tutorials about uh, for the beginners and introduction. Like this introduction is very cool, and the this one is also very nice. I recommend you check those things out if you are just beginning with Houdini. And we're gonna do a bit more advanced stuff, and but do check it out. Houdini is a very great tool, and I just love it. I just love it. I always say that Houdini is not a 3D app, but it's a 3D operating system, because you can build a bunch of stuff that whatever you need to do the job, you can build it with Houdini. So here's the result of the tool, and I'm just gonna show you how this works before we start building it, because it looks very nice. The final result looks very nice, but the highlight here is not the final result, but the way Houdini does this, and how you can package all this stuff into one node, one tool, and you can make its own UI. Here's the tool. That's the result. I have two here. Just gonna show you this one. I'll show you the other one in a second. And I'm using a let me see which version am I using. 11.0.482, and I'm using the non-commercial edition, or the apprentice edition as they call it also. And you can download this from the side effects uh, site, and it's free. You can use it for non-commercial stuff. It has everything you need. So onto the tool. So if you're watching this, you may already know all that stuff. So the tool creates this fence, and it's based on a curve you draw. And let me just use one curve here for now. There we go. I have one curve. Which is uh, here, one curve into the tool, and it creates that. And if I can still modify the curve right away, right here in Houdini, and as you can see, there's the points on the curve. I can hide that. There's the points, and I can still modify them. And as you can see, it updates to fill up the gap there with more boards. And if I can still add points to the curve and add corners there, and it adds the little nice post in the corner there. You can see if you get very close, we have just one board there. And all those parameters are controllable through the interface that we're going to create here. First, is all divided in sections, just like any other Houdini tool. It's just as the same as some of the other Houdini tools, and a lot of the Houdini tools you use are built this way. And first, in this tool we have the height, and you can see we have a global height there. Then we have a whole section for the boards, which are I'm considering these guys as the boards. So you can modify those, the width, and as you modify the width, you're gonna notice that there starts filling up the gaps, because there's a gap to be respected here. We also have a parameter for the gap there. And we can make the gap bigger and have less boards. We can modify the depth of the board. We can maybe do another kind of effect with this, or have it go the other way. The height also, and you can notice the top supports uh, gets repositioned also. We also have some parameters for the bevel, because this asset is meant to be final and render. Well, it's not textured, but you can use it. Here you notice it has some bevel. You can control the bevel width there and the quality or the repetitions there, the detail on the bevel. Then if we go to the corner post section, which is these guys right here, they also have a bunch of parameters. Yeah, parameters. I don't know how to say it anymore. This one controls the whole width, the height, also the bevel here, and we have some parameters here for the style on this top. You can see I already modified this a little, and we can have this kind of thing, or maybe pointy or more wide, kind of like that if you like it. Yeah, you can kind of give it a little bit more style there. Lastly, we have our supports section, which are these guys here going horizontal, supporting all these boards, and you can make them wide, make them fatter. You can move them if you need them to go lower or up in the direction you need. There's one for the bottom, one for the top, and we're gonna learn how to do all of these things. And as you can see, if I show this fence that I have right here, there's another. This is the same tool, but with some of the parameters tweaked, and I got this different kind of fence. Yeah. So I even had this as a preset right here, just so you can save your presets and use them. So how to use this? How do you? Sorry, how do you use this? And it's very easy, very easy to use. We just need to create a curve first. Let me just hide this and start with the curve and draw it in your grid or whatever you need it. Right now I'm snapping to the corners of the grid, making some points. I can even make non-square sections. Just have that curve, drop the tool. Here I have my curve, and I even have it in the shelf, the tool. Just plug it in, and there you go. That's all you need to do. And if you need to, oh, I forgot to move this over here or add another point, you can do it. You can also use it kind of interactively. If you create a curve and before you start creating it, you plug it in, but you are still in the curve tool, so you can start drawing, and boom, you can see that right away we have a post, we have a section, and we'll start making our fence interactively. There you go. That's the power of Houdini, man. There you go. So enough about the tool. Let's start building it. So I'm gonna go to a new scene. No saving, and let's create a curve because it all's gonna be based on a curve. It doesn't matter how the curve is made or whatever. Just made a curve so we can work with it. Let's just start with that. I'll hide the grid so you can see it, and let me just hide this to have some space there. So the curve, let's open a floating parameters here. Let me do some space. This is the curve, and we're gonna name it fence because at the end it's gonna be contain our fence. Go inside that and let's just name this base curve. So we need two things to copy to this curve. We need to copy the boards which goes in each section, and we need to copy the corner post which goes in each point that you made on the curve. So that's gonna be our how this is gonna work essentially. No, not that hard to figure out. Each section is gonna have boards, and each corner is gonna have a post, corner post. It's kind of easy to figure out. So let's start by modeling our boards so we can have something to copy. So inside here, just again create a box, and let's just name this box board box. Say okay. So we need to have this on the floor for now. So let's just uh, copy this parameter here, paste it on the center here as a relative reference. I don't know if you can see that. And what it's doing is just plugging this the whatever is in this value, plug it in here, connecting it. So, but we want to have half of that. So if you click here, you can see actually the result of the expression. So that makes the cube sit on the floor, and if you scale it, it will always be on the floor because it's dividing this and positioning the cube. So let's just make it 6 in 6 in Y, and scale it in Z, something like just uncheck the snapping there, something like just say 0.3. There we go. It's gonna be basically the board. The boards are actually they're not gonna be sitting on the floor, so we're gonna add to this expression now. Just hit add 0.3, and to raise it off the floor 0.3 by 0.3. So the only other thing I'm gonna do to this is add a poly bevel for the detail, and you can see if by default just change to this one, it wants to bevel the points. So bevel the tell them to bevel the edges, change it to absolute, and add a little bevel there, some repetitions, about 1, and change the type to high density round, so it gives us this round thing. Let's just name this because we're gonna be using these guys later, so start naming everything board polybevel so we know what that's doing. So okay, that's the board, and we need a bunch of them, so we're gonna use this to create a bunch of them. So how can we create a bunch of them? So let me just tell you that we're gonna use a magic thing, which is the copy sub. The copy sub copies stuff. So if I plug the board to the first input, which says primitives to copy, and I don't unplug it, I leave it plugged. I have options here for how many copies do I want. I want 5 copies. But where are they? Well, they are all on top of each other. But if I start translating them, look at that. I'm moving each one by 1.5, 1.4, 1.2, and I have 5 copies, and I can have many more if I want. Yeah, I can even move them up or down. Wow. But we're not gonna copy them like this. We're just actually gonna have one copy. We're gonna copy this to the second input, which is the template to copy to, and that's gonna be the curve we created. And look at that, we have a board in each point. They are actually laying on the floor, and we don't want that. So we're gonna fix that in a minute, but for now you can see that we can copy that, or let me just add a transform here to move them to the correct position, the correct orientation. There we go. They're now in the correct orientation, and there's one in each point of the curve. That's what the copy does. Copies one of these guys to each point of this guy. So that's exactly what we're gonna be doing. But since we need the boards to be in the segments here in between each point, we're gonna resample the curve and add more points here, and that's gonna be the kind of tricky part, but not so much. It's gonna be easy. So let's get into that and not copy that for now. Let's get back to the curve. And well, before we get to the curve, let's just model the rest of our boys that we're gonna be using. So let's make another box now. Let's make another box. And again, if we're gonna copy this and paste it here and divide it by 2 so it stays on the floor. And again, do it 6 in height. And now we're gonna be don't forget to name this guy's box corner post. So let's just select the top face and extrude it. Poly extrude that and make some kind of design here, whatever you want. Hit Q to repeat the extruding operation. Q again, and start making whatever design you want. Whatever you're free to do it. Don't do whatever I do. Do something else if you want. And I'm not gonna do the same thing I did before. I have something different here. There we go. I like that. So each time we've pressed Q, we're building this chain of poly extrudes, which is we're gonna be using these guys later for the tool. So this is important to have. So now the last thing we're going to add is a bevel, and we can actually use the bevel that we use for the box here. I can just copy that and paste it here, unplug it, just shaking it, and there we go. It has all these settings, but just rename it corner post bevel, poly bevel. So we have a bunch of poly extrudes here. We can just copy this part and paste it to each one of these guys, because each of them is important to us, and we love them. Our little nodes are just there. So we have our post done. It's gonna be all that we're gonna do to the post, and this is the post section right here. We're gonna move it here. So now we have a curve, we have a post, and we have our board, and let's start doing something with them, because that's what we're here, doing something. Let's just color this purple, because I tend to color purple the inputs, and this is an input, it's a curve. So if we copy the post to each corner, that's what we're gonna get, and let's just move them to the right orientation. That's exactly what we're gonna do with those guys. We're gonna copy one to each point in the corner, and they're actually kind of done already. that was easy, right? The harder part, I think, is the boards, but it's not that hard, as I said. So I think that's not gonna be enough points here in the curve to show the boards. We're gonna have to have two little boards there. Let's just make this bigger, have more boards there. Delete some points. I don't need that much for now. I think that's gonna be enough. So yeah, okay. This curve is gonna be everything. It's gonna drive, and it's gonna drive everything. I mean, so for now, let's just unplug it from there and go to the curve. And this curve, we're gonna resample to have points in the sections, because right now we don't have any points here, and we need points to copy boards here. So first, we're gonna put a resample sub, which is called resample sub. So right now you can see I have lots and lots of points there, lots. But how many points do I want in each section? Well, if you think about it, I can't have more points than okay, I can't have boards overlapping each other, right? So I gotta consider the width of the boards. So based on the width is how much points I'm gonna have here, because if I don't consider that, boards are gonna be overlapping each other, and that's not gonna be cool. So the resample sub gives us this length attribute, which controls the length between each point. And as you can see, as I modify this, the corners get screwed up. So if you click this resample by polygon edge, just forgets about the corners. It will always have corners and just resample each segment individually, or each edge. So that's exactly what we want. And you can see how can we control this parameter to have as much boards as we can fit there. So for that, we're just gonna use the board size, which is the size in X, as you can see here, is the width. So let's just grab this parameter, copy it, clicking here and just copy parameter, go to other samples app and paste the copy relative references there, and there you go. We have some kind of points. And if we copy this, if we copy the boards now to make another copy to this new resampled curve, you can see that they are again not in the right direction. You can see now that we have some enough boards to fill up and they are not overlapping. Let me just modify the curve a little. This is such a bad curve to work now. Just snap it here and drag it out. So we have this more kind of a square thing going up. There we go. So you can see we have boards and they are not overlapping. They are exactly one next to the other. Dun, dun, dun. But that's not what we want, and these boards are not in the right direction, right? These ones are, these not, these ones are not, and these ones are not. And if we start moving the curve in different ways, they are not going in the orientation we want. We're gonna fix that later, but for now you can see that we have built enough points to fill that, and if we move the curve, it's already working like we want. Yeah. So, but we need to have a gap between those guys. So let's just add a gap here manually, and we're controlated that with the parameter, and let's add 0.3 there. And as you can see, I like 0.3. There we go. We have a gap, and we can modify the curve, and we'll have a gap, and they will update and stuff.